All right, hello, welcome back to the Cardsmiths. Following in the similar vein to our last episode, going to be looking at some more Terraforming Mars content, and today we're having a look at the Automa expansion. So this is something I'm pretty excited about because you play against the Mars bot and the Terraforming Mars base game and the expansions. They come with rules for solo play, but the solo play is more of a race, you against the clock, than actually a simulation of you competing against another player. So this supposedly creates more of a real opponent, creates something a bit more adversarial and simulates better this idea of you playing against someone else and going back and forth. So yeah, we'll see how it is. It says on the box here, the Terraforming Mars Automa provides a new solo experience when playing Terraforming Mars instead of racing against the clock. The Automa lets you compete against corporations run by algorithms and special cards and makes it possible for you to add any expansions to create the challenge you're looking for. This is a very recent release, so the rules, the tracks, everything inside here will be able to accommodate all your existing expansions. So let's dive in. Let's see what's inside here. That out of the way. All right. So, some cubes and things. I assume this is for the Mars bot boards, the Automa. Got some dividers here, which are useful if you have the big box expansion to help organize your cards within the confines of that. I like the big box. I really love the big box, actually, because it's a perfect storage solution to Terraforming Mars. And, oh, there we go. Let's just check these out. I mainly love it for the 3D printed tiles, but everything, all the expansions fit inside very well. And it's got the card dividers and all that. There's now enough expansions that for certain stuff like the play mats and things like that, they don't fit inside, but that's nothing to worry about too much. This, I have no idea what it is. It looks interesting. It's maybe some kind of AI brain or something. We'll see what that's all about. Here's the rulebook. So the solo experience on Mars. It's important to note, actually, that this expansion is designed by Nick Shaw with David Terzi. And this is not Jacob Frixelius, the designer of the base game and the majority of the other expansions. So I imagine these are people either within Frix Games or fans that have created this bot. I think fans, actually. And Frix Games clearly is happy with it. Perhaps they refine certain things, but it's their design. Let's see what's inside. A little overview. Something this game does very well in the rulebook, actually, is the flavorful elements to it. All the expansions tell you a little more about the terraforming process, about what's going on, and what's happening thematically. So let's see, we have, how many pages? 11. So this is actually substantially more dense of a rules booklet than we're used to seeing in the Terraforming Mars expansions, which are usually only 2 pages of new rules. Makes sense. It's the Automa, so there's going to be more going on. This is adding corporations, so this is, I'm not sure exactly, but I imagine something to do with the expansions or playing against different corporations, a little more information. And then this is for adding expansions, so if you're not just using the Mars bot and the Automa with the base game, this will give you rules. Here we can see how to use this expansion if you also want to play solo with the Venus Next cards and Venus track. We have colonies here. Turmoil, which I'm actually a little surprised by because that's the political one, but I guess the bots can accommodate for the terraforming committee and the inner workings of that. I suppose they've created a system to handle that. It makes sense. They did advertise this can be used in conjunction with every expansion. Then the different maps, Hellas and Elysium from that first expansion, Samaria, which I don't have, and actually Amazonas isn't there, which is one map I do have. That's a fan-made one though, but you can buy it on Fricks Games' website. Some additional rules. And this booklet here is 15 pages. 16, I guess, counting the back. So here we have, so these look like maps for different, or I guess corporation, the Automa Marsbot boards for the different boards you can play on, the main game board. So this is for Utopia, this is for Vestitus Borealis, this is for Terra Samaria. Oh, so Tharsis. This is the one I was looking for. So this is when you're using the original map that comes in the original game. This is going to be the board that you're playing with. If you do have that Hellas and Elysium expansion, which personally I do, this is also then an option for me if I want to play the Hellas side or the Elysium side. I do think Tharsis is probably my favorite board. I think it's quite balanced, but having a little more variety and having this expansion accommodate that is pretty nice. Now this is cool because this is a triple layered, well, dual layered player board, but once you slide one of these inside, it's gonna be like the dual layered boards you got in the Turmoil Kickstarter expansion, if you have that. I really like it because in the base game, when you're just playing on the flat sheet, your cubes can kind of slide around a little bit, and sometimes you can go, oh no, was my plant production at 2? Was it at 3? Can lead to those sort of messy situations. So the cubes slide nicely along the tracks. As you can see, we're gonna be using these, it looks like. They seem to fit the size. So they're not gonna rattle around, they're not gonna fly off unless you're really doing something crazy. So it's just, they're gonna be locked nicely into those spaces. Let's try to put let's put the Tharsis map in here and see how that looks. So you can see it can just slide inside the groove. And it should be able to go right inside. There we go. Perfect. So then those cubes are going to be moving along the various tracks. Haven't read the rules yet, but the Marsbot, so the Automa you're playing against, is going to be getting these various benefits, I assume, as they're advancing along these various tracks. Now we have a similar type board here. It doesn't look like there's a slit to insert anything, so it's just dual layered, and this is for the Colonies expansion. You can see that. I haven't played with the Colonies myself yet. I just got it, but it looks interesting. Venus, we did just play with it the other day. I really liked it. And this one is for the Venus board. So it looks like the corporation can maybe spend 5 floaters to draw a card. And lastly, we will have a look at some of these cards here. Looks like there's special things. These are cards I'm not familiar with. Haven't seen this style of card. I'll have to read the rules, and then if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments if you want me to talk a little more about the Automa expansion. Automa, I suppose. And let's just quickly crack this open. It's sealed pretty well. Oh my god. In the meantime, you can see a little more of that stuff. There we go. All right, so let's see the cards. So the Marsbot, they have some board actions, final scoring information. We have a few of those and specific information cards for the various maps. That's the Tharsis one. So if you just have the original game and you want to get this Automa expansion, this is going to be the relevant one to you. Now, these are the backs of the corporation cards, but what's in at least the base game and the expansions that I'm familiar with. But let's see what's going on here. So they are still the corporations, actually. And these are for the Marsbot, for when they're controlling these corporations. So we have all the ones from the original game that you're going to be familiar with. Credit Core, Ecoline, Helion, that's a classic. Interplanetary Cinematics, Inventrix, the Mining Guild, Phobolog, Teractor, Tharsis, Thorgate, and the United Nations Mars Initiative. I actually have played this one a lot, as over the last couple months, the Terraforming Mars I played, I seem to keep drawing this corporation, and I do quite like it. So I've played that one quite a bit. Then we have these, I believe, are actually, I'm not sure what expansion the Chinese one is from, but as you can see, all these corporations for the various expansions. And this is cool. This is something I wasn't entirely expecting. They even have the promo cards from the different Kickstarters that they have Marsbot versions of those corporations. Like Factorum, I wasn't actually thinking that that would be in here. So that's a nice surprise. The Pharmacy Union as well. Phalares, Recyclon, Splice. I actually just played this one in the last game, the human version, obviously, and I quite liked it. It was a lot of fun playing with the microbes. Here we have the Venus ones, Morningstar, Aphrodite. My brother actually just played that one, or Hal, you guys would know him from the channel. And then, yeah, a substantial amount of different corporations that can be run by the Marsbot. And then, last but not least, here are some special, looks like event cards that can be going off when you're playing against the Marsbot. And it's going to be various things that are happening. So it's got that same back to the cards as the project cards have. However, these, I suppose, are project cards for... Yeah, my assumption, and it is a safe assumption based on what I saw on the Venus track here, 5 floaters to draw a card. These must be special cards that you can play for the Marsbot, and they're, I imagine, going to do quite powerful things. We see the strange big brain here, the local neural instance. Place the Marsbot local neural instance tile on the board adjacent to no tile. So this is actually going on the board. Very strange. Very strange. I'm excited to see that. It's interesting. It's different. I like this idea. Even the box captures it quite well. Of, you know, this idea of human versus AI, human versus machine that we see going on. And I think that's something we see actually the Helion, a member of the Helion Corporation. My sister just played that in the recent game we played. And yeah, man versus machine, I think, is an interesting thing. Quite pertinent with what's going on in the world with AI development right now. So we got some more cards. It's actually funny too. I am really liking the art on these cards. Terraforming Mars is generally notorious for its poor art. Really just images pulled off the internet. So it looks like, you know, this being really one of the most recent expansions that's dropped, I suppose Fricks Games has been able to invest in some art that's a little more attractive, a little more aesthetically appealing. So that's good to see. It's a successful company, and it's good to see them investing into that kind of thing. So cool to see on the project deck. I also like that they've done this for this particular deck that's going to be used for the Marsbot corporations, because then you have a whole deck with a consistent art style. So that's nice. All right, so that's it for the video. Not too long. Trying to keep these videos at a bit more of a manageable length to watch. If you made it to the end, thanks for sticking around. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. There's going to be a lot more Terraforming Mars content coming down the pipeline. It's a game I've really been enjoying. I have a bunch of new expansions for it, so we can gradually work our way through those. Take care, and we'll see you guys next time.